Welcome, everybody, to RPG Horror Stories. Today, we have 4 medium-sized posts. They're just the ones that popped out to me, alright? So don't worry about it. It just so happened to be that way. Roll post. Am I the asshole for hating a fellow player's metagaming? I have a bit of a crossover for you guys. I feel like I'm being a hatred-driven being for getting pissed off at another player's power gaming, metagaming, and steamrolling. The player's not a bad person, but they seem not to be aware of how annoying it is for the rest of us. Other players share my same opinion. They are always trying to exploit loopholes in their spells, come up with plans solely based on our ability scores, like, you should do X because our ability score is higher, but you should go do Y because you won't pass the check anyways. Constantly metagaming during roleplaying. Again, speculations about AS, the stat block of the enemy, etc. Typical metagaming. We've been through this topic with them before. We planned a quick melee PvP fight one-shot, and they arrived to the table with a Sorlock or some broken shit like that could do ranged attacks. And of course, it was out of the rules, but they just ignored it. No. Oh no, I just remembered. It wasn't a Sorlock, it was a different class that they had recently talked about and made comments about how broken it was. They literally brought up the topic of how some ridiculously powerful build and then called dibs on it. I don't want to talk about any more examples and give myself away in case they read this, but I have a handful of other times that something like this happened. I am afraid that if I talk to them, they will get mad and leave the campaign, because besides this, they are not a bad role player. And I don't want to bring it up with the GM either. I feel like I'm telling on somebody with their parents or some dumb shit. Am I just being kind of an asshole, or just overthinking it a little bit? Also, should I kindly talk to them and hope for the better? Well, I think that there are 2 ways that you can go about this OP. Either way, inaction here and letting yourself sort of hate this person is going to make you the asshole. However, if you talk to them kindly and they just don't stop fucking doing it, you're not the asshole, they are. And then after that, you escalate to talking to the DM. And the DM's going to fucking just shut that shit down. No good. No metagaming. And definitely no metagaming mid-roleplay. I don't give a shit what sort of system you're playing. There is no reason for your characters to know their own actual ass ability scores or enemy stat blocks, that sort of shit. I mean, it just doesn't seem to me like they're doing anything wrong. They're just trying to play in a more optimized manner, alright? It could be seen as metagaming. And 100%, some of the stuff is metagaming, but they're just trying to be optimized. They're not necessarily... they're optimizing for their own version of fun, not for proper roleplay. That's how I would say it. On with the next post. Player has an emotional outburst after attacking a hag. I'll try to keep this short post without making too many unnecessary details. I am DMing a 5e campaign for some friends. And the other day, I thought I had set up a fun encounter. The party had purchased a small ferry boat that they were taking through some swamplands, and they were ambushed by a hag. The hag attacked the party first, so the party responded by defending their boat and attacking the hag. Everyone except for the party monk, who insisted, while the hag was attacking the party, that there was a diplomatic solution. The monk decided to dash to the hag in an attempt to have a conversation. When he got closer to the hag, I described her as having several small humanoid parts on her as trophies, assuming being a child murderer would make her unredeemable in the player character's eyes. By this time, a couple of rounds passed, and the party had worn the hag down to near death. And when the monk finally got to the hag and rolled an exceptionally low persuasion check to talk her out of attacking, with his remaining action, he decided he would listen to his allies and punch her in the heart. This dealt more damage to the hag than the hag had left, and killed her. The party cheered, and the monk burst out in tears, like full breakdown. The game immediately ended. I sent everyone home and then went on a long walk with the monk to make sure that he's doing alright in and out of game. The conversation revolved around the nature of the game, how combat is typically a big part of Dungeons & Dragons, and how the rest of the party prefers a heavy combat game, how diplomacy can be it sometimes, and how some characters are just fucking evil and unredeemable. And how you can get caught up in embodying your character too much. And then an endless amount of philosophy about the differences between a player and a player's character. Now, everyone in my group is an adult, and has been friends for 10 plus years. Generally, I allow my characters to have a couple of drinks or to smoke some weed as long as they're responsible about it. I stay sober because DMing is too damn hard otherwise. True that, OP. It has never been a problem in the past. My monk was not drinking, nor were they smoking that night, but I suspect that he's been microdosing to put him in a very fragile state of mind. He is also the token hippie of our group, and it's an essential part of the group dynamic. I love the dude to death, but his drug use has either made him a space case or far too philosophical to have a real conversation with. For now, I'm going to ask the group to stay completely sober while we play, so I don't have to single anyone out. I will send individual messages to each player explaining the situation. TLDR, getting the final blow on a hag sent my player down an emotional spiral. Don't do drugs, kids. I completely agree with OP here, as somebody who has used psychedelics in the past. Acid, mushrooms, ecstasy, any sort of thing that will alter your state of mind extremely heavily is not going to work in Dungeons & Dragons circumstances. The only one that can is weed, and even then, sometimes it can be really hard. And this is because psychedelics put you in an extremely heightened emotional state. Not only do they make you visually hallucinate in a lot of circumstances, they also extremely exaggerate your thought processes. So, if you're in a role-playing scenario like Dungeons & Dragons, your overreacting imagination can actually lose track of reality and cause you to think that you are your character. And this can result in a lot of very, very real emotional damage, and in some cases, PTSD. It is not a good thing. I am completely on OP's side in causing people to be sober at the table, and I think it's a very solid choice on their end. Next post. The DM that hated marshals. Recently left a Lost Mines of Phandelver game after the second session. First red flag is character creation where Sharpshooter, Great Weapon Master, Ham, Sentinel feats are all banned. Just classic hallmark of a bad DM, in my opinion. And I share that opinion with you. I don't think that you should just outright ban all the feats that make martial classes usable. Oh shit, that's really fucking weird to read. But he specifically mentions he has a homebrew character feat to recover spell slot levels equal to proficiency bonus once per long rest, and +1 int, charisma, and wisdom that is available. As an aside, surprisingly, Variant Human was not banned. DM says martial feats are broken, must-pick feats aren't tactical, and are bad for character diversity. And he doesn't like how limited casters are with their spell slots. I would have picked that OP feat for my paladin, but they don't have the spellcasting requirements at level 1. Yeah, no, that is definitely an overpowered feature. I would absolutely call him out on this shit right then and there. Just like, yeah, no, this is absolutely OP. There is no reason for anyone to ever play anything aside from Wizard at your table or Sorcerer, because they can just spam cast Fireball every session, every time. So, Road to Phandalin requires us to take 1 overnight rest. The DM now introduces a house rule that you cannot long rest in medium or heavy armor, period. Not the optional rules from Xanathars, just wear armor equals no rest because it's too uncomfortable and your characters wouldn't do it. And being vulnerable is more tactical. I really hate armor punishment while sleeping because it feels awful to fight encounters with 10 AC or so as a strength melee. I would not have signed up if I knew this rule was in effect, but decided to continue the session since I already invested time in making the character, etc. Anyways, first night encounter is that we are jumped by two great oozers. What the fuck? First encounter. Wait, this is Lost Mines of Phandelver. Why is the first encounter two gray oozes? And their equipment's not on them. So it means that the oozes probably already ate the fucking gear. What the fuck? Oh my god, what in the world? Jeez, God, that is fucked up. Who the fuck just throws two gray oozes? Oh my god. First night encounter is that we are jumped by two gray oozes who sneak into camp and attack fighter and paladins chainmail, which lose 2 and 3 AC respectively before they are driven off. The DM relates that he runs this encounter every time he has a heavy armor user to balance out high AC classes, because 18 or 19 AC at level 1 is too broken and he needs to have fun too. Ugh. Says 75 GP chainmail is also OP, and too expensive a starting item. Run for the fucking hills, OP. I would have ran at that freaking first rule. I would have ran at the first red flag. That was too strong. God. He literally just negated any reason to wear heavy armor. See, there's a massive downside to wearing heavy armor, which is that it is hard to hit things because you have a minus dex penalty. What the hell, man? What the hell? Oh my god. He can have fun without ruining yours. It's pain to read. Pain to read. Oh my god. There's a billion different ways he can do this without fucking you. He's just actively out to fuck any martial classes. That's what I'm getting out of this. I hate it. I hate this. Goblin Ambush reveals more house rules that he did not discuss beforehand. 2 AC from shield is overpowered, and the characters realistically wouldn't travel with them strapped on because it's too uncomfortable. So if you want the AC, you need to spend a turn of combat to get on your shield. Extra attack at range is too overpowered at 2, so bows take 1 turn to be... He gave bows the loading property! He gave bows and crossbows the loading property! Weapons have 3 durability points, and you lose 1 for each 1 or 20 you roll on an attack. You can only have a single backup weapon that has to be light on your person. Everything else is oh god. Oh god. This is a horror story. This is too hard. This is literally, like, straight from the get-go, not winnable for martial classes. Fuck that shit. Fuck this DM. I want to punch this DM in the face. I'm going to punch this DM in the face if I ever fucking meet him. The kicker is that once we get to town, we are informed that since Phandalin is a small frontier town, middle armor is not available for purchase. Why would miners buy armor? There is no armor to do repairs, and martial weapons cost 3 times the PHP prices. Our melee characters have to live with the massive armor penalty for the foreseeable future. Left immediately. Good on you. Fuck this DM, fuck this round, fuck this game, and I hope that this DM lives as a virgin until they are 970 years old, and they burn in hell. Next post. I have max charisma, so you have to do what I say. I'm going to try to keep this short for once. We were playing the fan-made Fallout Pen and Paper RPG. The adventure was simple enough. We were hired on as guards to escort a caravan from the hub to New Reno. It was a fun little adventure. Sure, the GM was brand new and there was a couple of hiccups from time to time. But overall, it was a good game. The only problem was that guy. That, incidentally, was the GM from my previous post. This is u/red80. I will read this previous post in the next video. He had decided to play the face character, and we were okay with that. The big problem was that he had convinced himself that just because he had max charisma and put all his points into social skills, his character was capable of controlling everyone else's characters. Because I'm so beautiful that you all instinctively want to follow my command. Actual quote from him. And he got really pissy out of game whenever we didn't do what he said. He also seemed to be genuinely confused why our characters did not immediately love his character, just because his character, within mere minutes of meeting the rest of the party, intentionally insulted everyone to our faces. Tried to shoot the dick off of one of us for sleeping in, and genuinely acted like an insufferable prick that actively made the job so much harder for everyone else, by acting like an asshole to every NPC we met. Also, he constantly stole things from the caravan we were supposed to guard, and tried to order other PCs to give him their equipment, and when that failed, he tried to steal from them while they were asleep. Out of game, he was even worse. He constantly criticized the game master for being bad at his job, constantly tried to take over the job as GM to show you how it's done, and criticized other players as being bad role players. Especially after we all made it clear that we don't give a shit about your stats. We control our characters, not you. After which, he wanted to make a new character because his build was no longer viable, and he just overall acted like an asshole. We eventually got tired of him and his character and threw him out of the game. His character ended up getting killed and dumped in the wasteland by our clients because they caught him stealing. Cue much rejoicing because the game became a lot more enjoyable without that guy and his character around. Too long didn't read. The guy that thought that having a 10 in charisma meant he could troll other players got mad when we told him that it didn't work like that. Good on you, OP. You not only out that guy, you out that guy without being a that guy. Which means that you must be a Chad. Get the fuck over here. Only Chad to play Dungeons and Dragons. Only Chad to play RPGs and do it well. Much love, man. That's sexy. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!